Thank you, Susan. All right, well, welcome everyone. Really excited to be here with you today. Take an opportunity, a respite from our day, let go and relax. So let me talk about what I'll be talking about. And in this next 30 minutes, we're going to be, actually I want to find out a little bit about you and love if you have anything to offer, ideas, suggestions. I know some of you probably have been meditating and practicing mindfulness for a while, and some of you might be brand new to it but want to find out. And then we're going to talk about the science. And I've been practicing yoga since 2004, became a yoga teacher 2012, and have been doing mindfulness in the workplace probably since, I want to say maybe about 6 years ago, I started teaching mindfulness in the workplace. And I always love finding out about why mindfulness and meditation are such a powerful thing that we can do for ourselves. So I even did a little research prior to today, some new research that I added to my list of things, why we should actually meditate, what's in it for me. There's so much in it for you, and we'll talk about that. I have a couple practices lined up, so we'll do 2 practices if time permits. And these practices are relaxation practices. So after our session today, I would say get out, move around, drink some water, because you'll be super relaxed. And we'll close with some resources to take on the road. So a few things that I have to share with you. And then I'd like to open it up to the audience for any questions or resources they have that they want to share with the rest of us. So this is Together We Stand, an MEA community activity, and glad you could join us. So our first part is we're actually going to do a poll, and I kind of want to find out who's in the audience. So Susan, if you can pull up that poll, and you're going to select, is it that I am brand new to this, or all the way to number 5, which would be old hat. Go ahead, and on your screen you can select where you fit in, and that gives me an idea of who I have in the audience. And I see numbers coming in. Ah, we've got a variety. This is awesome. Yeah. So it looks like, very good, brand new. So the majority of you are brand new. So this science that I'm going to bring up is some good stuff. All right. 67% brand new. There's a number 2, a number 3, and a number 4. So we do have some practitioners, 8% of you. One of you actually has been practicing for a while. So without further ado, let's keep mushing along here. And I'm going to break it into 3 components, the what, the why, and the how. So starting with, what is this thing, mindfulness? For those of you who are new to it, you've probably been hearing the buzz in the media all the time. But what really is mindfulness? And my definition that I like to use is from Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's not about getting someplace else, but rather about being fully present where you already are. Those 4 green words are so critical, where you already are. So even now, as we gather together, let go of your morning. Don't worry about what's coming next. We want to be right here in this space and realize the power of your full presence right now in this moment. Now, Jon Kabat-Zinn is a really interesting guy. He actually was a molecular biologist, and he came across Zen Buddhism and meditation. And he took this concept and brought it to the Western world, and he was one of the first to secularize and make it not so spiritual, so to speak, where everybody can practice mindfulness. And he introduced a program called the MBSR program, the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program, in a hospital in Massachusetts. It has actually spread across the country to many hospitals, and people who are terminally ill or suffering from any kind of illness take these sessions so that they can better cope with their illness. And I actually at one time, maybe in 2016, was at the University of Penn, and Dr. Bain is the individual who runs the MBSR program down at University of Penn, and I had a chance. He came to my hospital room, this is when I was going through treatment for cancer, and actually meditated with me. So very cool. You can sign up for that. I can tell you more about that if you have any questions, but a great program if you want to go really deep. So what mindfulness is, and it's focus here now, laser focus in this moment, be with us. And then there's a caveat that's really critical, without judgment. So oftentimes I talk to people and they're like, I can't stop the thoughts. They just keep coming. My mind is always going. And that's okay. And in fact, that's the human condition. Our minds will wander and our thoughts will travel and we will be distracted. And so as we go through this process, mindfulness includes the wandering mind, so that it actually is, part of mindfulness is catching your mind when it loses focus and bringing it back. The analogy or the visual I like to use for that, if you think of the vaudeville stage back in the day, there are actors or actresses who were really lousy. They'd take that hook and pull them off stage. We're going to take that same hook and pull our brains back on stage to center focus, bring our minds back to the current moment. So it's okay to wander. Catching it in that wandering and bringing it back is what's really critical. So why would anyone want to even get involved in mindfulness? There's a lot of science out there, and there's some powerful what's in it for me, WIIFM. And some of the statistics that we have uncovered and studies that are current today is because neuroscience has evolved, and they can really examine the brain and look at the brain and see what the brain's doing. Our brains are not static. In fact, they are malleable. They're neuroplastic. So that what mindfulness does is it really impacts the brain in some very positive ways. The first thing is people who practice mindfulness show differences in the areas of their brains for, get this, decision making. So if you find yourself having a tough time making hard decisions, if you practice mindfulness, it's going to help you with that process. I recently had to sell or rent my house. It was a big decision, and I couldn't decide. But when I started practicing mindfulness on a more regular basis, it really greased the tracks for that decision making. Attention span is another thing. So back in 1998, when I first started training as a facilitator for MEA, I used to profess, and the studies showed back then that our average attention span was 7 minutes. Now today, the world is very different, and there's a lot going on with technology, and it has changed. And how about if you type into chat what you think the average attention span is today? So remember, 98, it was 7 minutes. Today, it's much shorter. So if you just click on your chat box, you can type in. And if you don't type in, that's fine too. But I'm seeing some answers come in. 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, lots of guesses out there. I don't see one that's gotten it yet. It's actually 4 seconds. 4 seconds. It's because of this. It's because of this. This technology stuff that we are so addicted to, and our attentions have drastically reduced. And so mindfulness is to counter that. This is a tool we can use to counter that. And it also helps build self-awareness. You'll become more aware of your body, your thoughts, and self-awareness is a very powerful thing. Also, there's an increase in activation in the left prefrontal cortex. Now, this part of your brain, the left side of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is responsible for, get this, positive emotions, joy, happiness, contentedness, peace, all those things that are positive in our lives, how we feel when we feel positive, we can get more of that with mindfulness practices. So again, they're showing that our brain increases in activation when they're studying it, when people who practice mindfulness. So that increases. Now, counter to that, people who tend to be depressed, this part of the brain is less active. So that who wouldn't want more positive emotions, especially in today's world, and that's why we're doing this with the pandemic. How can we increase our positive thoughts despite what's going on around us? Now, 4 parts of the brain: the hippocampus, the orbitofrontal cortex, the thalamus, the inferior temporal lobe. These are 4 parts of your brain. They're all responsible for one thing, and well, not one thing, many things, but the one thing they have in common, they actually increase in size based on your meditation and mindfulness practice. They're responsible for regulating emotions. So when you're stressed out, one of the best things you can do is practice mindfulness on a regular basis. It actually acts as a coping mechanism, a way of reducing those kinds of anger fits that might happen if we're stressed out, or we're in a traffic jam and someone's leaning on their horn. Instead of us going, ah, we too will be more calm the more we practice mindfulness. So regulates emotions. Now, this is some of the newer studies that I found. I actually was out on NIH's website yesterday, and NIH is the National Institute for Health, and there was a study that they touted on their website, and they compared 50 people who had never meditated or practiced mindfulness to 50 people who were regular practitioners. And what they found was there's a difference in their brains. There are actually more folds on the brains of those people who practice meditation. And they call this gerification. So as your brain increases these folds, it's called gerification. And it actually helps you increase your ability to process information. Kind of back to that whole decision-making thing I just talked about earlier. So we can process at a quicker, more effective rate than when we don't practice. Now, there was another study in 2013, and actually there's 3 studies that suggest that meditation, and this is my favorite, absolute, it blows me away, because I am about to approach 60, so it's really important to me, and any of you who feel this way, it slows, stalls, or even reverse changes that take place in the brain due to aging. Here it is. Slow, stalls, or even reverse those changes that happen due to aging. Yes, powerful wisdom in it for me. Now let's boil down the science before we get into our practice. Mindfulness meditation, significant benefit, health, well-being, and quality of life. It's linked to reaching academic and personal goals. So if you're someone who is striving to achieve whatever it might be in your career, or if you're a runner in a marathon, this is going to help you get to those goals, and it reduces work-related stress. In addition, meditation has repeatedly been shown to improve, again, I can't say it enough, our attention span, and then job performance, productivity. We get better at what we do, and we're able to get more done, and satisfaction. We're more satisfied with our lives. So meditation is a very powerful thing, and if you're not sold, I hope that you go out and do a little research yourself. There's numerous studies out there that can support why this is a good thing. And better work relationships, of course. So let's talk about the how. We're going to actually introduce 2 practices right now. And first, it's not that we can merely resist those thoughts that come in. Really important that you know the human condition dictates, as I said earlier, that we have what's called, and some of you may have heard this term, monkey minds, constantly churning. So we can't merely resist those thoughts. Instead, our brains are like babies. They're just like babies. Think of this analogy. Like babies need to play with toys to keep occupied. Our brains are the same. In order to keep our thoughts calm and to focus here and now, we need to give our brains some kind of toy. So I call these meditation objects. There are a gazillion types of meditations and mindfulness practices out there, and you can certainly research them. I'm going to offer up 2 today. And not every practice is for everybody. You need to find one that is comfortable for you. So I'm going to do 2 guided meditations, and one is going to be a body scan. The other is going to be a visualization. So those will be your 2 meditation objects. So let's talk about, again, the definition of what mindfulness is. It means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So as a trainer, for those of you who are trainers out there, I see Chris Muller, I like to break things into steps so we can grab it. And so the steps to mindfulness that I've designed based on this definition is pay attention now, on purpose, in a particular way. That's the toy or the meditation object you're going to choose. How am I going to do that? And then the most important, without judging yourself. So those are the 4 easy steps for mindfulness. So let's forget about, for a moment, just a moment in time, and start focusing on a mindfulness practice. So let's start with our first one. And that's going to be a body scan. So what I'd like everyone to do is to find a comfortable seat, and wherever you are, get really comfortable. Plant your feet on the ground. Now, if you want to lay down, you can. However, sometimes people fall asleep, so you might want to choose wisely if you're one of those people who can sleep really readily. And if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes, or at least cast your eyes downward. And now what I want you to do is to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Let's do that again. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And when you do this audibly, it actually impacts our parasympathetic nervous system, and it helps us relax. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Lower your shoulders, relax your face, loosen your jaw, spine erect. Now, focus first on your feet. So plant your feet on the ground. We're going to focus on our right foot, the sole of the foot. And as I mention each body part, just follow along with me. And this is something that we use in yoga nidra or yogic sleep. So we're just doing a mini of that. Feel the bottom of your foot. The sensations warm, cold, tingling, not. The right foot. Now I'm going to take you through the big toe, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, top of the right foot. Feel the sensation. Stay with me. Don't get ahead. Ankle, calf, right shin, right kneecap, back of the right knee, right thigh, right hip. Feel the whole right leg. Starting with the left foot. Sole of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, top of the left foot, shin, calf, knee, back of knee, thigh, front of thigh, back of thigh, left hip. Now feel both legs completely. Just sense into the spaces along each leg. Now let's travel up to our navel, our left hip, our right hip, our bellies, rib cage, chest, front of the neck, And starting at our buttocks, we're going to start at the base of the spine on our back, travel up our spine all the way to the back of the neck. Now we're going to go to the right shoulder, right upper arm, elbow, right forearm, right thumb, pointer, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, and palm. Now feel the whole of your right arm. Let's go to the left shoulder, left upper arm, left elbow, left forearm, left palm, thumb, pointer, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, back of the hand. Now feel both arms. Travel back up to your neck, chin, loosen your jaw, relax your tongue, cheeks, ears, eyes, eyelids, forehead, temple, scalp, top of the head. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Feel your whole body. Feel your whole body. Slowly open your eyes. Come back to the here and now. Roll your head around. And in the opposite direction. Reach your arms overhead. Reach way up high. Reach out. Lean to one side. Lean to the other. Take a deep breath. Let it go. So that's a mini body scan. Now we're going to prepare for our next practice. And this one is a visualization. And what I'd like you to do is, this is something where in your mind's eye, you're going to take yourself to this place. And it's a happy place. It's where you felt in your lifetime, in a moment, a day, an hour, a minute, where you felt complete joy. Some people who I practice with, they actually think about the birth of their baby, getting married. Some people just go to the ocean. Some people go to the mountains at the lakeside. But where is that happy space, or even that moment in time something happened where you just felt sheer joy? I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. Close your eyes again. Sit up straight. Feet flat on the floor. Get comfortable and visualize that moment in time. I'm going to activate all the senses. So if you're at the beach, you can feel the breeze on your face. You can smell the sea air. You can feel the sand under your toes. Look to your left. Look to your right. Who's there? Who's in front of you? Turn around and see who's behind you. Look up in the sky. Visualize that space, time, and moment where you felt joy, that happy space. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Now be with this for just a little bit while I remain silent and focus. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Continue to focus. Slowly, slowly bring yourselves back. Flutter your eyes open. Come back to the here and now. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Hold our heads left and right. Reach up to the skies. Stretch, stretch. Hopefully you are able to be with me in that moment of visualization. It can be very powerful. Now again, there are different mindfulness practices for everybody, and you might find something different that you enjoy more. In fact, during the coronavirus, we have been doing puzzles here at our house, and if any of you do puzzles out there, you know how you can get into the zone and be focused on that puzzle. And it is a very powerful mindfulness practice. So puzzles, walking, running, these are all mindfulness practices along with these more meditative ones that I've shown you today. So some resources I want to share with you, and if you have any resources, please type them into chat. The first one is Headspace, which some of you may have heard about, and this is an app where they do offer a free introductory practice series. And it's an Australian guy with a great voice. So if you're like me and you listen to guided meditation, the voice is really important. So you might want to try this one out for fit. And then the second one is Calm. I use this one all the time. And they have actually lots of great music. Tamara Levitt is the main meditator, I should say, or author meditator who does a daily practice. And they're only 10 minutes. 10 minutes in the morning and you're done. So for those of you who have not practiced before, know that it doesn't have to be hours on end. 10 minutes, you'll get a lot of those benefits I talked about. And then the last one is the Insight Peace in Our Timer. It's also an app. And this one is a collection of meditations from around the world. There's thousands of them. And you can sort them in many different ways, whether you want to guide it, music, sleep, not sleep, whatever it is. You can probably find it there. My favorite meditation is Sarah Blondin, Blondin. She has a whole, maybe 15, 16, she's got her own channel, and some really fabulous, she uses poetry, which if you like poetry, awesome poetry to meditate to. So with that said, I want you today, at the very minimum, when you feel yourself getting stressed out with the COVID virus or work or the kids at home, whatever it might be, is to take a purposeful pause, a deep breath in, a deep breath out, and you'll see that you can bring yourself back here and now. In conclusion, a famous person once said, what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And that's Ralph Waldo Emerson. I thank you all. Namaste. That would be the light within me meets the light within you for my yoga practice. I appreciate you being here, and I'm around for any questions. Feel free to type into chat. I'll stay on for a few more minutes with Susan Zal. And Susan, if you see anything, let me know. I'm seeing thank yous come in. You guys are all so welcome. I hope you had a chance to relax and let all the stuff go away, even if it was just for a little bit. It's